Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. If you're new here, my name is Kevin and I like to talk about movies, specifically those on physical media like Blu-ray and 4K UHD. Now today I wanted to do a special video for the Vinegar Syndrome Half Way to Black Friday sale that is going to be starting this Friday at midnight Eastern Standard Time, and I think it runs to Monday. I'm pretty sure it's like a 4-day sale. And all the craziness is probably going to happen during midnight. And, there's so many Vinegar Syndrome titles to pick up. So I thought it would be a cool idea over on my Instagram. If you don't follow me on Instagram, my handle is The Hills Have Celluloid. I've been posting daily pics of, rare Vinegar Syndrome titles, just general recommendations. So think of this video as sort of a companion piece where I'm just going to pick, 5 random titles and sort of just talk about them if you're interested or curious about grabbing something that you might not have been anticipating to grab. Also, I'm not going to really go into depth about the sale info. There's so many questions, and they've thankfully been answered by a fellow YouTuber, cmooremovies. I'm going to post his link down below in the description. He did like a half an hour video doing like a Q&A type of video, and he basically answered any question that someone going new into the sale would be curious about. So with that being said, I'm going to talk about, again, 5 titles, and I'm kind of going to go, sort of improv on this one. I just kind of want to get this video out for you guys. And then also, since I live in Connecticut, after the sale is over and the titles become available to pick up at the archive, I'm going to do a pickup video where I grab all my stuff and hopefully get to show the stuff to you guys in a sort of, normal fashion, like the videos I used to make like a couple months ago. So let's get started. I'm going to talk about a film that unfortunately the slipcover is sold out, but you should still check it out. And that is Shot from 1973. Now, this is a film that was made by a guy in the middle of the Midwest, Champaign, Illinois. Probably was inspired by The French Connection that came out a couple years prior. And he decided for 15 grand to make a movie quite similar to a Hollywood production. And he achieved a lo-fi action thriller that is pretty inspiring considering the budget and sort of the tools that they were able to use to make a pretty effective movie. This is just a really cool Blu-ray because I'm pretty sure this film has never been available on home video or never even had a theatrical screening maybe outside of the Midwest. So it's pretty cool that Vinegar Syndrome was able to give us this set. I'm just going to pull out the slipcover real quick. Here is the reverse art. Looks pretty cool. Just seeing, just a forgotten gem of early 70s regional filmmaking. It was barely released theatrically. It was retitled Death Shot. And it was shot on 16mm. So they even have, I don't know if you could see very clearly on the case there, but, they had access to like a helicopter, squibs, shotguns. So I think it's a pretty inspiring film, honestly, for, the production and everything like that. So it's an essential lo-fi action thriller from Vinegar Syndrome. All right, our next title. You guys know how much I love Rudy Ray Moore. He is, one of my favorite actors from the 70s, exploitation, blaxploitation, whatever you want to say. And Disco Godfather, I have to recommend. I think last sale I recommended The Human Tornado, but Disco Godfather is great. Rudy Ray Moore doesn't play Dolomite, but he plays the Disco Godfather. He owns a disco club where he, makes people feel very happy with his music and his righteous attire. But unfortunately, his community is being attacked by a new drug called angel dust, and it's up to the Disco Godfather to use his kung fu action to stop the drug dealers and bring justice and peace back to the streets and the community that he loves so much. I got to be honest with you guys, this is a perfect package. Out of the 5 films that I'm going to be talking about in this video, this is the one that you have to watch with a group of friends. It's so much fun to watch. I mean, Rudy Ray Moore packs so much entertainment in his films. Sometimes they could be maybe a little bit boring, but he just provides so much, funny dialogue, silly kung fu, and then like this film in P.D. Wheatstraw, there's like this surreal horror. Like if I remember correctly, there's a moment, as the back of the case said, like similar to Coffin Joe, those kinds of European horror films. There's like this surreal trip of this guy going on angel dust, I believe. And it's like something like that. Like on the back of the box, you could see kind of like a sort of like a demon of sorts. But of course, you see Rudy Ray Moore in the kung fu. You see him, as a disco godfather. It's so much fun. And there's a bunch of special features, as you can see on the side. Essential Vinegar Syndrome. I can't recommend, P.D. Wheatstraw, Dolomite, Human Tornado, and the Disco Godfather. You'll have a lot of fun. I guarantee it. Okay, moving on to some horror. This one came out last year in 2020, and I don't think too many people have really talked about it. I mean, there's been a lot of great stuff that came out last year, but this one, because it was a January release, not too many people talked about it. Zombie Island Massacre. I think the slip is still available. If not, my apologies. But this is a film from 1983, and I think the best way I could describe it as Gilligan's Island meets Scooby-Doo. I think that's the best way, because it's about a bunch of American vacation goers. They take a plane over to the Caribbean, and then they get stranded on this island. And of course, there are zombies, and it's not your Romero zombies. It's not even something like Lucio Fulci zombies. They are the classic voodoo, I walk with a zombie, white zombie type situation. So if you're looking for the Romero flesh eaters, this might be a little bit of a letdown. But on the side note, I don't know. I watched this movie and I'm watching it, and it's just like, man, this is like reminds me of something that maybe you saw in the 50s and the 60s. It's got every different type of ensemble cast member you could want. I think I remember there was some pretty gory scenes. And of course, the score was done by Harry Manfredini, who of course worked with Sean S. Cunningham, most famously with the Friday the 13th series. So you're going to hear those little pings and bells and whistles that you would hear from a Friday film, mixed in with a voodoo zombie movie. So this is what you're getting. In terms of special features, there's no interviews of any cast or crew, just some trailers, TV spots or radio spots, I think, and just some other things here and there. But Zombie Island Massacre, if you are got kind of bored with Army of the Dead and you want to see a more lower tier zombie film, I think you're going to enjoy this one. It comes recommended. So yeah, that's Zombie Island Massacre. Have a fun-filled vacation. That's according to the back of the box. So, that's Zombie Island Massacre. Okay, our second to last film is one that came out earlier this year, and that is Cthulhu Mansion. I like the artwork here. And this is from the same director who did Pieces and Slugs. 1 second, I'm going to pull out the slipcover. I really need to get a mic stand. That would help. But yeah, so here's the reversible art. As you can see, there's the back, a lot of text. But yeah, it's directed by Juan Pierre Simon, who did, Pod People, Slugs, Pieces, Spanish filmmaker. And this is one of the last films that he made from 1992. And I like movies that are set like in broken down mansions, Gothic mansions where modern characters. Like I like movies like Dolls, for example, is one I enjoyed. I even like one of the newer Giallo films that was in the third box set. I like that one too. But the basic premise of this film is the movie begins in a carnival setting, and there is a magician and his daughter. They're performing there. But there's also a group of gang members, biker-looking guys, greasers, punks, and they're trying to score on some cocaine. And the whole drug trade goes wrong, and one of their companions ends up getting shot. And in a way to get away from the police, they kidnap the magician and his daughter, and they force them to drive to the magician's like mansion, which is also has Cthulhu written above the gate. It's ridiculous. And the head, I want to also give a shout out to the main greaser character who looks exactly like Willem Dafoe. It's kind of it's kind of hilarious. Also, I think the other love interest, she looks like Allison Williams from Girls. And then also another girl in the film looks like Amy Poehler if she had curly brown hair. This movie really worked well for me. I mean, there's some great special effects, some really like funny little tidbits that happen throughout the film. There's a funny shower sequence, and the ending is just so laugh out loud funny, the way it's kind of anticlimactic. But with that being said, I would recommend Cthulhu Mansion, just because if you're a fan of pieces and slugs, you're going to kind of expect what you're going to expect, right? It's just, another Euro production. There's also a documentary, feature-length documentary on the director Juan Pierre Simon. So if you're interested about his career, what he did outside of, making horror films in the United States, maybe his contributions to Spanish horror or just Spanish genre filmmaking, I highly recommend checking out Cthulhu Mansion. Okay, and our last film is not really a genre film at all. It's one of the earliest Vinegar Syndrome titles on Blu-ray, and it has a legacy slip, and it's still available, and I think it's criminal that no one really talks about this movie outside the small circle. Maybe because it isn't a horror film or science fiction or maybe an action film like the VSA titles, but I highly recommend, from 1971, The Telephone Book. This is a great film, guys. It's 80 minutes long. It's rather brisk, and it's so unique. It's essentially about a girl who gets a phone call from a guy, and it sort of becomes like more of like a kinky, like sex phone call, and she gets aroused and everything like that, and eventually hangs up, and she's just in euphoria, pretty much. She wants to know who this guy is, and he ends up calling again. And she really says like she wants to see him, but he's kind of, taken back by it. So he's like, look, if you could find me in the phone book, located in Manhattan, find me in the phone book, gives her a name, then perhaps we can meet. And for the rest of the film, it's this girl kind of looking up the name, like, are you the guy who called and like talked dirty to me? And then she like meets like this amateur stag performer, which is just one of the weirdest scenes I think I've ever seen in a 70s sexploitation dark comedy. It's so bizarre, and those who've seen the film know what I'm talking about. Like, this character, he's like having sex with a woman with his boxers on, and he has like the classic stereotypical like fake nose, like Groucho Marx like mustache, the fuzzy eyebrows, and like the glasses. It's such a weird scene, and it feels like like a combination of like Andy Warhol, a combination of like Robert Downey Sr., like that New York City underground type of film. And the ending is literally euphoria. Like I was watching it last night just to refresh on it, and I was like thinking like, what is going on right now? But I can't stop watching this movie. It has an interesting history that, this film came out, the director kind of had a sort of a slow, career until a decade later. He ended up working on SNL, and he was involved in the tragic 3-day drug binge with John Belushi. And his career never really recovered, and sadly he passed away before this Blu-ray came out in 2013. But the audio commentary with the producer is really fascinating, and I don't really watch commentaries like right after I watch a film, but I listen to the commentary because I just wanted to have some additional notes and research for this film. I think it's criminal that this movie has not been talked about in sort of the when you think about the monumental moments in Vinegar Syndrome's history. I think this one is a cult gem for a reason. An interesting midnight movie that I don't think really was a midnight movie, but apparently it was also an influence on Bertolucci's Last Tango in Paris, like the bathtub scene. So the telephone book from 1971. It's not a genre film by all means, but it's, if you're interested in sexploitation, sex comedy, New York City film locations in like the early 70s, and just kind of this weird breaking the fourth wall type of picture, then I think you're really going to like this one and be really surprised. So yeah, that's the telephone book. So there you have it, guys. Those are my 5 picks for the Vinegar Syndrome Halfway to Black Friday sale. I hope you guys enjoyed the video. Please also support some of my other favorite YouTubers like Michael Keane, Aaron Pinn, of course, Brian from Just the Discs, cmooremovies, which I'll put down his video down below, and also a shout out to like Luke Mick, who also did like a recommendations video as well. And with that being said, guys, I'll see you sometime next week when I have some fresh Vinegar Syndrome titles in my hands. So enjoy the sale, stay awesome, stay positive, and I'll catch you all later. Bye-bye.